Let us now move to the second module, which talks about safety, one of the needs for human factors. In this module, we shall learn about A. Errors and violations, B. The error chain and how to break it, and C. The Swiss cheese model.
The current aviation industry has become a complex system due to high demand, high traffic, congested airspace, new technologies, etc. These pressures of the system add a new dimension on the human being and make the human being commit errors and violations.
Professor, what is the difference between an error and a violation?
Take a look at this example and you will understand. An error is a lapse or a mistake and is not committed willfully. A violation is willfully breaking the rules.
Professor, we human beings will always make mistakes or commit errors and violations. How do we avoid accidents that occur due to these errors?
It's not a single error that causes an accident. It's a chain of errors that lead to an accident. You might have heard accident reports by the investigating team, which talks about a chain of events that led to an accident. To understand this better, let's take a look at a chain of errors. An error chain are multiple contributing factors that reduce our ability and may lead to an accident.
Professor, what are the most common factors that reduce our ability?
There are a lot of factors that reduce our ability. Let's take a look at some of the common ones. Stress, mental, emotional, or physical tension, strain, or distress. Norms, the commonly accepted practice of working routine jobs without the manual or compliance to SOPs. Lack of communication, a lack of clear, direct statements and good, active listening skills. Distraction, draw one's attention away, mental, emotional confusion or disturbance. Complacency, self-satisfaction accompanied by a loss of awareness of the dangers. Lack of awareness, failure to be alert or vigilant in observing. A combination of all these factors would lead to an incident or an accident. Therefore, our aim should be to break this error chain to avoid an accident or an incident. Let's take a look at how an error chain can be broken. To break an error chain, there are measures that are inbuilt into our system using hardware and software elements that we learned in the Shell model. These are all measures to reduce, trap, or resist errors. These measures are called resistive measures. For example, policies and standard operating procedures, manuals, checklists, equipment and resources, regulations, training, etc. In the example we just saw, let's assume that the person was still stressed about how he would pay the bills, but followed the SOPs and had referred to the manual instead of following what he had done before, or what we better know as norms. Would the error have occurred?
Obviously not.
Apart from these, there are some positive measures that the human beings, that is, us, bring to the system. For example, proficiency, assertiveness, decision-making, effective communication, teamwork, leadership, vigilance, etc. Let's look at the above example again, and let's assume that the employee is still stressed and he still is going to follow norms. However, this time the supervisor effectively communicates that he wants the employee to use the manual to complete his task and ensures it's done. Would the error have occurred?
No, Professor, it wouldn't.
The first model to understand accident causation and enhance safety was designed by James Reason and called the Swiss cheese model.
What is the Swiss cheese model?
James Reason considered all the resistive measures and all the reactive measures in our system as defenses or barriers to avoid an accident. He also, like most of us, agreed that we don't live in an ideal world and that errors are inevitable. Hence, the barriers are not always perfect, nor are they always in place as they should be. When a threat would occur and it slips the crack and passes through all the barriers, or when all the holes line up, it would lead to an accident. All it takes is one of these barriers to do their job and the accident does not occur. Vigilance is the last line of defense. Everything else can fail and vigilance can save the day. The buck stops here. Vigilance begins with you.
That brings us to the end of Module 2, Safety, the Need for Human Factors, where we have learnt A. Errors and violations, B. The error chain and how to break it, and C. The Swiss cheese model. Thank you.